Hi guys, this week I'm going to go over adult egocentrism. This is a term coined by the psychologist David Elkind, and most of the information that I'm going to share with you guys can be found in our textbook on page 309 of Understanding Human Development by Wendy Dunn and Grace Craig. However, there are a couple of external links that I will link below with my video where I conducted some outside research, and I will specify which information or what information came from which source. So, to start off, I'm just going to preface with my story for the night that I'm going to be referencing back to. So my story follows a African American 17-year-old student that is getting ready for and attending her prom. And then just a note, she does attend a predominantly white school. So yeah. Um, and then also to preface, adolescent egocentrism is a stage of human development that contains kind of three main ideas. These main ideas are the personal fable, the imaginary audience, and the illusion of invulnerability. Our textbook goes over both the personal fable and the imaginary audience in depth. It briefly mentions the illusion of invulnerability in conjunction with the personal fable. Excuse me. And um and then I did some outside research on YouTube that solidified my understanding of the illusion of invulnerability. Um, so to start off, I'm going to go ahead and start off with the imaginary audience, which is covered on page 309. The imaginary audience is the belief that others are constantly watching and scrutinizing you. It results in the overemphasis of public perception, can result in self-judgment, cause distractions. And yeah, so if our student were to, let's call her Molly, if Molly were to be experiencing the imaginary audience while getting ready for her prom, this might look like constantly redoing her makeup. It might look like over analyzing the way that her body looks in her dress. It might look like over analyzing what hairstyle she would like to do, and how exactly she would like to for it to look. This could also be kind of a cultural influence or cultural dilemma at the same time for her. Because as I had mentioned previously, this student attends a predominantly white school, and so she might be thinking about what her hair looks like from the perspective of the average student at her school rather than genuinely thinking about what hairstyle she might like to express herself with at her prom night. So, yeah, that is the imaginary audience. It's kind of just the idea that someone's always watching you, someone's always looking at you, everything always needs to be perfect, and things like that. Next is the personal fable, which can also be found on page 309 of our textbook. In Gen Z terms, this is the unique experience. This is the belief that one's experiences are completely original and that no one could possibly understand their situation or how they feel in regards to the situation. Um, and in terms of our story that we're going with tonight, Let's say that Miss Molly is putting the finishing touches on her prom look. And she is putting on her shoes when all of a sudden the heel snaps off the back of her shoe. And she freaks out for a moment, but then she grabs a different pair of shoes. However, all that Molly can think about is how these shoes don't match her dress, how they are not as comfortable as the last dress or as the last pair of shoes. And is also continuing to think about if other people might recognize that her shoes don't match her dress. Um, and she just thinks that this is absolutely the end of the world. She doesn't even want to take pictures for her prom because of how badly she thinks it looks to wear these shoes with her prom dress. And so she ends up not taking prom photos. And she ends up wanting to not remember that. When in reality, there are two other girls in her very friend group, one of which who ordered a pair of shoes that never came, and the other one that ordered a pair of shoes that did not fit right when they arrived. And both of these girls also had to figure out different arrangements to do with their shoes for their prom night. However, Miss Molly, she fails to understand that there might be other perspectives, that there might be other people going through this very same situation. And she feels very upset and isolated in her feelings of frustration regarding her situation. So, yeah, that would be an example of the personal fable. Once again, it's just the inability to understand other perspectives and also making your own perspective exceptionally unique when it may not be. And then finally is the illusion of invulnerability. So this one is briefly mentioned on page 309, kind of in conjunction with the personal fable. When I did a little bit of outside research, that's when I kind of solidified my understanding of the illusion of invulnerability, which, from my understanding, is the idea that it can't happen to me. It's the belief that one is immune to the consequences of their actions, and that what happens to others is not going to happen to, excuse me, to them. And so in this case, for Miss Molly, if she was experiencing the illusion of invulnerability on her prom night, this might look like having a alcoholic beverage when she is under the legal drinking age, and possibly getting in trouble with either school security or her parents, after believing that because everyone else was maybe drinking around her, that she would not get in trouble for doing or for participating in these very same behaviors, when in reality she is still under the legal drinking age and very well could still get in trouble with both the law and her parents for engaging in these behaviors. So, yeah. And then just some little pictures really quick that I drew with all of them. For the personal fable, I drew a world revolving around someone. Um, because that's just kind of what it is. It's thinking that the world revolves around you. For the imaginary audience, I put someone standing in their underwear on a stage and everyone laughing at them, just because that's kind of what it feels like all the time. You feel like people are laughing at you all the time and you're in your underwear or doing something wrong all the time. And then for the illusion of invulnerability, I did my best attempt at the Superman logo, because students or kids, or even adults experiencing adolescent egocentrism may feel like they're Superman, may feel like they can do anything, when in reality, there are dangers, harms, and even the possibility of death. So, um, two things that I do want to leave off on for adolescent egocentrism. Number one, it's totally normal for like adolescents to be experiencing this. So even though all of them are kind of described as rather negative behavioral patterns, it is totally normal. And then number two, um, if gone unchecked, behaviors that are exhibited in adolescent egocentrism may follow adults into their emotional development, their moral development, and kind of things like that. So yeah, that is everything on adolescent egocentrism, the personal fable, the imaginary audience, and the illusion of invulnerability. I will go ahead and link the two resources that I listened to that supplemented my report on the illusion of invulnerability. So, yeah, thank you guys for listening, and I hope you guys have a great weekend.